What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Hey, check it out. I want to get on here real fast and talk to you guys about why I don't do full comparisons of sounds from module to module. I'm doing this way and not my normal way because I get asked this question all the time. What do you think is the best sound? Which module has the best sound? My problem with that is this. After I talk to the person that's asking me that, even they, without admit that they don't even use the sounds that are in the module. Most of them start bringing up EZdrummer or some other drum program that they're using outside of the module. So here's the thing. If you're gonna bring up some program outside of the module, whether it be the sounds in the DAW or something that you've downloaded, and that's gonna be your argument, you know, that this is a better drum, you've already gone the wrong way. You follow me? So if you're using something external, then there's no discussion about the module sounds. But so now let's talk about the module sounds. Most people will say, you guys know I'm a Simmons guy. I like the Simmons product. And I'm trying to get into trying out the Alesis a little bit more and seeing I got the drum set sitting over here. And I'm getting familiarizing myself with that product. Well, the funny thing about that is, let's talk about the Simmons product. Most people, if you go into my comment section on a lot of my videos, they are like, Simmons sucks, you know, the sounds are horrible. And the funny thing is, the more that I talk to these people, these are first of all the same people that usually end up talking about EZdrummer or some other program, which I do have EZdrummer, don't get me wrong. So I'm not knocking that. I think they sound amazing. What's up, y'all? Future Keith here. About my statement about I think they sound amazing. Even in EZdrummer, when I went through and looked at drums to download that I wanted for myself, I did not choose all of their drums because I really didn't think I would like all of their drums. I actually chose the more gospel, funk type drum that's more attuned to the type of music that I play. But what happens is they dog out the sounds, but they dog out the sounds because they heard them in the store and they didn't like the way they sound. And that's where the problem comes in. So in my local store, I talked to one of the guys that works in there and I went in to get footage, but we had kind of had a conversation, so they had made a change when I went back to get the footage. But the initial time I went in there, I noticed that the high-end drums all had the big 12-inch Roland monitor connect to them. That's a really, really nice floor monitor. And they had it, you know, set up, you know, EQ'd out right. And you play those drums, they sound amazing. But when you walk over to the Simmons drum or the Nitro Mesh or whatever, those drums were on like an 8-inch speaker and it wasn't the best. And come to find out, my guy said that it was blown. So follow me on this. I challenge each and every one of you to go to the store where you heard that drum and take your favorite set of headphones. I got some really nice headphones. Take some headphones in, plug them in, and play on each of those drums, and then tell me how they sound and if they sound cheap. And the reason I say that is this. In one of my previous videos, and I guess I'll link it up there, in one of my previous videos, I discussed how you can go in and modify all of the sounds. One thing you can do first is you can modify the sounds. That's number one. Number two, not only can you modify the sounds, what most people don't realize because they never modify the sounds is that they go through and what you do is you turn through your knob, you go to a drum, you play it, ooh, I don't like that. You turn, yeah, I don't like that. And then you get finally one that you like, ooh, this one sounds good. Okay, that's great. The problem is if you were honest or with yourself, or if your experience with music was a lot larger, you would pay attention to the fact that those drums that you didn't like were probably for a style of music you don't play or that you don't listen to. So by way of example, I can play Latin, I can play jazz, I can play funk, I can play pretty much any style. I ain't, you know, fully fluent in everything, but I can play a lot of different styles of music. And one thing I've learned is that if you deal with these styles in their native fashion, then you discover that those drums are tuned a certain way. A jazz kit, the heads on a jazz kit, if you go to an acoustic kit, that coated head, I personally do not like those coated head ringing sounds, which is why I use a pinstripe head on my drum. However, I will say this, that coated head, when it's in the mix with that style of music, sounds good. Now follow me. It does sound good in that style of music, but to me, in a lot of instances, that jazz tuned set doesn't sound as good on funk. Because on funk, you need something a little more beefy, something a little more punchy. And that toom boom, that ringing of that coated head tune to that jazz feel doesn't work for me. Now, you go to a module that they've imitated that jazz kit tuned to be played in jazz, but you are a heavy metal drummer and you pull up this jazz kit, it's gonna suck. It doesn't match the style of music that you play. So I'm not saying, I hate to try to, I just got a comment saying, man, why you talk so much in that video? I wanted to see you actually analyze these sounds. There's a reason why I won't do it. The reason I won't do it is because even if I did, I have to analyze it and judge it in the phrasing, in the music that it is. And if I leave it there, then that drum probably sounds pretty good. And the funny thing is, because this is a studio, I record music, even if I brought that drum in and I have Easy Drummer, so I'll explain this, even in Easy Drummer, they give you the ability to modify the sounds a bit, even though those sounds are great. So if Easy Drummer gives you the ability to modify those sounds, if I was going to record with the Simmons Sounds Direct, or with the Alesis Sounds Direct, or with Yamaha Direct, or whatever other drum set that I was going to do, I'm going to modify the sounds. I'm going to EQ them. I'm going to do some things to them. Which means by the time I'm done, here's what's going to happen to that sound. It's going to sound like it's supposed to be a part of that music. So it doesn't matter what module it comes out of. Does that make sense? So yeah, I don't go into individual sounds on drums, unlike other channels that may. I think my opinion, I'm entitled to what I'm about to say, they're all wrong. If they say this thing sucks, put that thing in the music, if you pull up an 80s drum, an 80s electric drum sound, you're probably not gonna like it if you are a hip hop musician. If you pull up hip hop drums, some type of 808 heavy drum, but you are a more of an orchestral type player, or some other style that hip hop is just overbearing, you're gonna that sucks. So it's hard for me to honestly judge negatively sounds from each module simply because I don't like the way they sound when I look at the screen and it says, this is what this drum is, but I don't play that style. When I write music, my music is a heavy jazz, gospel influence type thing. My music is online, and certain drums don't fit that style of music, so I don't use that. I have to flip to a drum that does, or I have to take the drum that I'm going to use that's closest and modify that drum to fit that music so that it fits properly. When I EQ it, when I master the whole thing down, when I mix it, everything's done, it all works. And you will listen to it and go, yeah, that works. And you're not judging the sounds, even, watch this, and you may be like, I really don't like that drum. But that doesn't mean that I've heard acoustic sets tuned in a way that I did not like, that would not be my preference. But that's the drummer's preference. That's the band's preference. So who am I to say that that's a cheap, he doesn't know how to tune, this band is horrible because I don't like the way he tuned his drums? If that's what works in this style of music, then that's what I gotta go with. If I'm gonna play that style of music, then I gotta actually respect the style and give the people that are listening to that style what they want. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to try to force them or take them on a journey that they don't want to go and hope that it works. So yeah, this is why I do not judge the individual sounds of the drum sets. And with that being said, let me make this very plain. I am a Simmons guy. I like their drum. I have it sitting here. I have all of these speakers. I love it. I do not, let me say this for the people in the balcony. I do not like every sound in the module. But there are some of those sounds. If you watch my video that I put up earlier, if you watch, there are some sounds that I thought were nice. But even in the sounds, if you watch that video, even in some of the ones that I didn't like, when I started to EQ them, I EQ'd them to my liking. I changed them to what I like. That's all I'm saying. I think that every last one of you guys need to go back before you start saying that this module is better than that and that sound is this. Stop for a second and ask yourself, are you being true to the module and the science behind this? Or are you really being judgmental because it doesn't fit your particular style of music?